In this video, we are going to deal with collision resolution, at least in the horizontal direction. So I want to look at two things. One is our hero should not be able to pass through blocks like this. And number two is we shouldn't be able to leave the bounds of the screen. So let's go ahead and get started. If we're going to resolve collisions, what we're looking at is every iteration of the game loop, no matter where we are in the screen, we need to be able to get a list of all of the blocks that we happen to be touching. So we could be touching just one platform block like this, the ground of one of these blocks. We might be overlapping more than one at a time, like after motion is applied. And then once we detect we're overlapping, what we're going to do is just nudge the player off, right? So we'll move, and the coordinates say we're overlapping. So before we draw anything, we'll update the coordinates so the little guy is nudged off. All right. So let's go ahead and get the list of platforms we're colliding with first. And so what I'm going to say is hits is equal to pygame.sprite collide, and I'm going to say self platforms and false. And so let's break down what this does. Right, we're in the hero class, and so this is saying we're interested in what this particular hero is colliding with. We're checking it against all of the platforms in the platforms list. And false means when we detect a collision with a platform, we don't want that platform to be removed from the platforms group. We want it to stay on the screen and stay in the game. You'll see later, like when we're getting items like coins and hearts and stuff like that, that I would change this to true, because when I hit a coin, I want it to disappear. I want it to disappear from the screen. All right, so now we have our list. So now we need to loop through this list and resolve the collisions with each one at a time. So I'm going to say for hit in hits. Right, and when you're writing like this, be careful with it. This is always going to be plural, and I'll always use a singular variable name here, right? But these can be any variable names you want. And at this point, we need to check the direction. So, like when you're just overlapping, I don't know which way the nudge is supposed to go, right? Just this doesn't tell me anything. But fortunately, right, rather than manipulate the coordinates directly in the move left and move right direction, instead of doing that, we used a velocity-based motion, and we changed the velocity. And this gives us the ability to detect which way the hero is moving when a collision occurs. So remember, if a player is moving to the right, its velocity is positive. And so if the velocity is positive when a collision is detected, we know that the nudge needs to be to the left. All right, so let's do that. So I'll say if self.vx is greater than 0, and what we want to do is make the nudge so that the player's right edge, the hero's right edge, self.rect.right is equal to the left edge of the hit. And let's see if it works. Okay, and we're good. And I can no longer get through the block. I want to do collision in the other direction. So I guess what I'm going to do, just real quick, is I'm just going to add another block into the game so that I can check collisions in the other. That was weird. Check collisions in the other direction. And so, right, and that's necessary right now because I can't jump yet to test collisions on the other side. So I'll just put this block here so we can check that collision. All right, and so this is simple enough. If I am moving to the left, my velocity is negative, and therefore the nudge should be to the right. So I'll say if self.vx is less than 0, self.rect.left is equal to hit.rect.right. And let's test it out. Okay. And everything, right? And everything appears to work. Okay. Now I want to deal with the edges of the screen. Okay, and these blocks are in the way, so I can't get to the screen edges. So I'm just going to go ahead and temporarily get rid of those 2 blocks. So now I can go off the edges of the screen. And we'll go back to the hero. And we'll deal with the screen edges. And so let's see. This is simple enough. If I'm on this edge of the screen, if I'm overlapping the edge this way, right, if my left edge is less than the left edge of the screen, I just do a little nudge. And if I'm over on this side, and my right edge is off the edge of the screen, I nudge back this way. So I'm going to say if self.rect.left is less than 0, so that's over here, right? The rect is less than 0, you're hanging off the screen a little bit. We'll say self.rect.left is equal to 0. And we'll do a little nudge that direction. And then when we get to this case, if you're off the screen, so this is going to be compared to the screen width, which is our width variable. And the width variable is what we created up here for our screen size, right? And then I'll just say self.rect.right is equal to the width. And so now, right, so now we have a hero who can't, I'm stuck, and we'll try the other side. And I'm stuck. Okay, I can't go off the edge of the screen. So everything looks like it's working pretty good. I am going to, now there's something about my update that I'm starting not to like, and that is I'm really performing 2 separate tasks here. And so what I want to do is I'm going to break this down into a couple functions. So the first one will be, well, I'm going to say move and check platforms. And that's all this code right here. And then there's another task, and this is dealing with the screen edges. And I'll just say check world edges, right? And we'll copy this code. And so now, the way you call these functions, we'll say self move and check platform and self checked world edges. And all right, so now we on each iteration of the game loop, we're just going to make a separate function that performs that particular little task. So I think this update function is easier to read, and we're going to be a little bit safer because now we won't get this code mixed up in this code when we're making future edits. And you might even see, like, later on, you probably can guess we're going to have like self.check items, that are in the game. We got to check the self.check enemies to see if we hit any monsters and stuff that are walking around the game. So let's just make sure it still works as intended. So we'll go here, can't go off the edge of the screen, and can't go off the edge of the screen. And I'm going to go ahead and put another block in just in case, just to make sure that still works. So we'll do that case. So let's do 6,7, and I don't know where it was before, but from it. Okay, and I still can't go through blocks in the horizontal direction, so everything looks good. And let me know if you have any questions, and if not, in the next video we will deal with gravity and follow that up by dealing with jumping. All right, talk to you later.